Every minute of every day, this is Louise's life.
If I come down in the morning after run the seas, because I don't get wet, we have to literally dip it in there. And then
you have to do that cycle?
I don't know, half hour or so it takes to fill up.
Half an hour? This didn't happen last week or even last year. The ceiling in Surrey collapsed in August 2019. She told her landlord, L&Q, they did not share her urgency.
It's like you don't feel human, if you get what I mean, like we're living in below humane conditions. I mean, I know there's more other things going on at the moment with them poor people, but it's not nice.
Unsurprisingly, much of the kitchen is now rotting. Upstairs, so is the bathroom, a room from another era, where the toilet is slowly sinking into the floor. Louise's consistent complaints to one of Britain's biggest housing associations has led her nowhere. The last letter she received from L&Q was this, telling her they're putting up her rent. 4.1% increase.
Yeah, in a house that's like falling apart, basically. I mean, there's nothing I can do either. You can't not pay it, you can't know where to live, have you? So you've got to do it.
L&Q told us they are very sorry to Louise for these unacceptable living conditions and have agreed to rehouse the family while they carry out repairs. They're now investigating how this happened, but this keeps happening to tenants across the country and they're about to pay more for it. The government limits how much councils and housing associations can increase social rents. This year it's 4.1%, the biggest increase in more than a decade. Research by ITV News suggests 89% of councils will raise it by the maximum amount. The majority of housing associations are set to do the same, estimated to cost around 5 million families an average of £200 extra a year. Why are so many housing providers putting their rents up now?
The rents that tenants pay to councils and indeed housing associations is the money that actually funds the repairs and maintenance and upkeep of the properties. So it's important that there's enough money in those accounts because we want our tenants to be living in decent accommodation.
But in Croydon, tenants are asking where that money has gone. 12 months ago, we found council flats in squalid, dangerous conditions, and the families forced to live in them.
I just feel like I'm going to kill myself if I continue like that.
An independent inquiry later found tenants' health and safety were put at risk, their complaints ignored for years. A year on, little has changed. That's according to this independent board set up following our investigation to hold Croydon to account. In its first report, it says that not one of the immediate actions set out by the inquiry have been completed, that they're still finding shocking examples of rudeness and inhumanity towards tenants, and that of the 3 blocks on this estate, none of them are in a reasonable state of repair. Inside one of them, Kingsley cradles his 4-year-old daughter. She has a lung condition and struggles to breathe, yet has to live in this. Mould and damp dominate every room. A rotting, rusty waste pipe leaks dirty water daily into their kitchen.
To see your daughter suffering, sometimes I look at her and I cry.
2 doctors have written to Croydon Council to say she needs to be moved, but the family is still here and the council are putting up their rent.
Will you allow your daughter to live in such a condition? We are good tenants. We've been here for 8 years. We pay everything. We don't own the council. So what is going on?
Croydon Council told us that although they've not found grounds to immediately move the family, they want to work with Kingsley to make improvements to their home as a priority. How can you expect tenants living in the kind of conditions we've reported on to pay more rent to you?
I understand why residents will feel the way they do, particularly given what has happened in Croydon, but I think it's really important to remember that council social rents in Croydon are below average. That increased funding is vital in terms of being able to achieve financially the kinds of improvements that we are talking about and that I want our council residents to experience.
What you're effectively saying there is that to improve the quality of people's homes, it's the tenants that have to pay for it. The tenants have to pay to improve the properties that you've been allowed to run into the ground.
Funding and investment for all social landlords, for councils who are social landlords, comes from rents. There's no money coming from government to be able to do something about the kind of conditions that you're seeing right across the country.
And with limited government help to pay these rent rises, they will hit tenants hard. For those in homes like this, it's even harder to stomach.